Hey guys, welcome back to Iyanla Empowers. In today's video, we will be doing another one of my favorite topics, which is water pollution. As promised from the last air pollution video, I will be doing all three types of pollution, and today's video is dedicated specifically for water pollution. I want to thank you guys for the continued support. We are on the road to 1K subscribers. Before I get into the video, a quick disclaimer: my voice is a bit raspy right now. Not sure why, but you might hear me clearing my voice a bit. So I'm sorry for whatever inconvenience that may cause, but we need to get this video out there. So let's get it. All right. Now you know I love to start off my videos with a definition. Like, which Iyanla Empowers video have you watched and there has not been at least one definition? We have to. What is water pollution? So water pollution occurs when harmful substances, remember the name of those harmful substances from the last video? If you said pollutants, you are correct. So pollutants are these harmful substances, often chemicals or microorganisms that contaminate a stream, river, a lake, an ocean, an aquifer, or other body of water, which degrades the water quality, rendering it toxic to humans or the environment. So this is contamination of pollutants in any water body, and it degrades the water quality. I have a picture here just to show, polluted water, because this is obviously not clean water, and how it makes the man clothes look. He has to have an mask. It's definitely polluted water, and we have this little gorgeous fish that's just swimming, and it's going to go into those polluted waters, and I fear for the fish, but that's what happens. Now, where are these pollutants coming from, right? What are the sources? Well, water is uniquely vulnerable to pollution. That's right, it's vulnerable to pollution. It is known as the universal solvent. That's something you probably will learn in our science class or biology class or chemistry class. Water is known as the universal solvent. This is because it is able to dissolve more substances than any other liquid on earth. So water can dissolve any substances. That's how we can make our Kool-Aids. That's how we can do our teas. Because the water dissolves those substances. Now, this is why the water is so easily polluted. Toxic substances from farms, towns, and factories readily dissolve into and mix with the water, causing water pollution. If you see the picture here, it's definitely dirty water, because you cannot even see that transparent, blue or clear, water that we'll normally see. It's just black and dirty, so we know it's definitely polluted. Now, agriculture can pollute water. That's right, around the world, agriculture is one of the main causes of water pollution. Every time it rains, fertilizers, pesticides, and animal waste from farms and livestock operations wash nutrients and pathogens, and these pathogens include bacteria and viruses, into our waterways. So these bacteria, these viruses, all of these things from the pesticides and the fertilizers and animal waste are all going in our waterways. Now, nutrient pollution sounds nice, but it causes threat to water quality. It is caused by excess nitrogen and phosphorus in water or air, but we're talking, water right now. Now, what it does, it causes algal blooms, which is a toxic soup, in quotes, of blue-green algae that can be harmful to people and wildlife. And we'll touch back on this in a few. All right, but if you look at the slide, I got a picture of, animated man that has a pesticide thing that's spraying this leaf right here, and it's like the pesticides is running from the leaf into the waterway. I also got a picture of this river. I did a lot so you could get the idea of the pesticides goes on the crops, goes on the plants, then it runs off when it rains into rivers or waterways. Now, sewage and wastewater is another source of pollution. Now, used water is wastewater. It comes from our sinks, our showers, and toilets. Think sewage. And from commercial, industrial, and agricultural activities, think metals, solvents, and toxic sludge. The third, did I just say term? Oh, don't laugh at me, guys. The term also includes stormwater runoff, which occurs when rainfall carries road salts, oil, grease, chemicals, and debris from impermeable surfaces into our waterway. Now, we can also include, like the ash that mixes with the rivers and turns this mud type of thing that also pollutes our waters as well. It can be defined as wastewater. If you look at this picture right here, don't you just feel nauseous? Come on, guys, look at this. Look at this, come on. And this is the sewage and the wastewater. And that is a water body right there. And the water body looks like that. Water pollution is real. And it's not just plastics and bottles. It's stuff like this that we commonly overlook, Now, oil pollution is another source of water pollution. Consumers account for the vast majority of oil pollution in our seas, including oil and gasoline that drips from millions of cars and trucks every day. Moreover, nearly half of the estimated 1 million tons of oil that makes its way into marine environments each year comes not from tanker spills, but from land-based sources such as factories, farms, and cities. And I'm pretty sure we'll touch on this some more when we're speaking on land pollution, but this that we think, okay, oil pollution is when there's a oil tank spill or a ship with oil turned over. When you think about it, majority of the oil that's polluting our waterways comes from cars, factories, farms, cities. So we as consumers are contributing to this oil pollution, and some of us probably didn't even know. If you look at this picture here, we see how the water looks when it's contaminated with oil. If you have, this can be an experiment for you guys. You can have a cup of water and just put some oil in there, like some gasoline, probably put some gasoline in there. Rather than regular cooking oil, you can try putting some gasoline in there and you just put it in the sun and look how it looks. And that's how our water looks, right? Now, radioactive substances also contribute to water pollution. Radioactive waste is any pollution that emits radiation beyond what is naturally released by the environment. It's generated by uranium mining, nuclear power plants, and productions and testing of military weapons, as well as by universities and hospitals that use radioactive material for research and medicine. So it's not just the nuclear power plants and it's not just the military weapons, it's also the hospitals, the universities that use radioactive machinery and stuff like that to perform research and for medicine. Radioactive waste can persist in the environment for thousands of years, making disposal a major challenge. Now, radioactive substances are commonly found all over the world, but we can expect more radioactive waste near military operations, nuclear plants, areas of deep mining and uranium mining that takes a lot of radiation. Small islands like Jamaica, the Bahamas may not have as much radioactive waste as other areas, such as Russia, the United States, But it is also important to note that even though it doesn't affect, me or you guys that live on small islands, eventually it will affect us once it's affecting somewhere else on the planet. Now, what are the effects of water pollution? It's there, the waterways are dirty, they're polluted with different waste from agriculture, from oil, from sewage, from radioactive waste. What are the effects? Now, we love to talk about human health first. Now, water pollution kills, right? In fact, it caused 1.8 million deaths in 2015. 1.8 million deaths. That's a lot of deaths in 1 year, according to a study published by The Lancet. The Lancet. I don't know what's going on with my pronunciations today, guys. Please overlook it, but it's on the screen. All right, contaminated water can also make you ill. All right, so if it's not going to kill you, it's going to make you ill. Every year, unsafe water sickens about 1 billion people. There are 7.7 approximately, or 7.9 approximately, billion people living on Earth. And unsafe water sickens about 1 billion of these people, if not more. Now, I don't know about you, but that is a lot, right? And in low-income communities, there are more risk because their homes are often closest to the most polluting industries. So, it's bad that 1 billion people get ill from unsafe water, but it's even worse that it's low-income communities are affected, those who do not have enough resources, enough money to make themselves better. So they will continue to be ill, and it will continue to be a cycle, unless, of course, it is stopped. Now, waterborne pathogens in the form of disease-causing bacteria and viruses from human and animal waste are a major cause of illness from contaminated drinking water. Diseases spread by unsafe water include cholera, giardia, and typhoid. Even in wealthy nations, accidental or illegal releases from sewage treatment facilities, as well as runoff from farms and urban areas, contribute harmful pathogens to waterways. And before I start to explain, it's important to note that these videos that I create, they are hardly edited. They're just me, It's just like a teacher in a classroom. You cannot edit a teacher in a classroom. She will speak, she will teach, she will make some mistakes, she'll clear up herself, stuff like that. That's the experience that I want you all to feel through the phone, not an edited lesson or animated lesson. It's just me teaching, but virtually. All right, now back to the vid. Now, if you look at the picture, we see source of cholera outbreak in Mozambique. So we see, of course, we can say from the jump that this is not clean water. All right, this isn't clean water, but at the end of the day, this is the water that is available to the people, and water is a basic need. So if it is needed and it is there, whether it's clean or not, persons are going to use it, right? But even though it is there and they use it, it isn't clean. Cannot take away the fact that it isn't clean, and because of that, it will have bacteria and viruses, and specifically right here is the source of a cholera outbreak. So there's a lot of stuff going on in that water that's affecting the people of Mozambique, and it's making them sick and ill. All right. So it's important to note that some people don't have a choice but to use this dirty water, probably find natural ways to try to purify it, but it still more than likely will remain dirty. So it's, as I said before, a repetitive cycle of using their only option, getting ill, no money to help them feel better, so they will either remain ill or die. It's sad to know, but it happens. Now, even swimming can pose a risk. Every year, 3.5 million Americans contract health issues such as skin rashes, pink eye, respiratory infections, and hepatitis from sewage-laden coastal waters. Now, look at this water right here. I want to ask you a question. Would you swim in this water right here? Because I wouldn't. I would be so afraid to go into that water. Listen, look at the plastic bottles and the different stuff, and oh my gosh, the water is clearly dirty. But persons going in the water, they're looking for food or they're searching for something, whatever they're searching for, they're in there, and we don't have to ask if they can get some serious health problems, because I'm pretty sure that they will, because that's dirty water right there. But if that's the way of life for some people, then that's the way of life. Now, what are the effects water pollution has on the environment? When water pollution causes, remember the point that I said, we're going to go back to it. This is the point, all right? So water pollution causes an algal bloom in a lake or marine environment. The proliferation of newly introduced nutrients stimulates plant and algae growth, which in return reduces oxygen levels in the water. So it's good that plants are growing, but these plants and algae growth reduce oxygen. Living organisms need oxygen, right? Well, this death of oxygen, known as eutrophication, suffocates plants and animals and can create dead zones where waters are essentially devoid of life, right? Because if there's no oxygen, they can't survive there, so they're not going to be there, right? In certain cases, these harmful algal blooms can also produce neurotoxins that affect wildlife, from whales to sea turtles. Our picture right here is really sad to see, but it's just a dead fish in this algal bloom water. There's no oxygen there. We can see the plant growth as well, but this removed the oxygen, so the fish died. Now, chemicals and heavy metals from industrial and municipal wastewater contaminate waterways as well. These contaminants are toxic to aquatic life, most often reducing an organism's life span and ability to reproduce. They make their way up the food chain as predator eats prey. That's how tuna and other big fish accumulate high quantities of toxins such as mercury. I have a picture right here that we can just look at together. So we have the small fish, and then that little orange glow around the fish suggests that there's mercury in the fish. So we have that small purple fish. Now that small purple fish is eaten by this yellow fish. That gets the mercury off the purple fish and also the mercury that it already had, Then the blue fish goes ahead, eats the yellow fish. Now it's getting 2 times the mercury that it has. The pink fish eats the blue fish, 3 times the mercury that it has. This orange or red fish eats the pink fish, 4 times the mercury that it already has. And this white fish or blue fish eats the red fish, and it's now 5 times the mercury that it already has. So 5 times plus itself, that's so much mercury. And look which fish the ship catches. That blue fish right there. If you look further, like towards the back of the picture, at the top, of course, it would look like the back. That's the way the image wants us to, visualize it. But we see that the ship fishes for the blue fish that has 5 times the mercury it has. So that fish is being sold to us. We're going to eat it, but then we're going to become ill. So not only does this mercury pose as an issue for the aquatic life, but also for human life as well, because when we digest these high levels of mercury, we are affected. We get mercury poisoning. Alright, so everything is linked together. Now, marine ecosystems are also threatened by marine debris, which can strangle, suffocate, and starve animals. Much of the solid debris, such as plastic bags and soda cans, gets swept into sewers and storm drains and eventually out to sea, turning our oceans into trash soup and sometimes consolidating to form floating garbage patches. Discarded fishing gear and other types of debris are responsible. For harming more than 200 different species of marine life. If you look at these pictures, I have 2 here. We see some marine debris that we can see how they can actually, strangle and suffocate some animals. Because look at the cords and the fishing nets and all of that debris. And if we look over, we see another picture that shows this garbage patch that's floating, right? And if you look at the picture that we had before, when we were talking about swimming in the water and the amount of plastic bottles and stuff like that that were just floating on the water because they can't be degraded. It's very terrible. Now, meanwhile, ocean acidification is making it tougher for shellfish and coral to survive. Though they absorbed about a quarter of the carbon pollution created each year by burning fossil fuels, oceans are becoming more acidic. This process makes it harder for shellfish and other species to build shells and may impact the nervous system of sharks, clownfish, and other marine lives. Now, listen, I don't know if that sounds bad to you, but it sounds horrible to me. Alright, coral reefs are so important, especially for smaller fish for food and stuff like that, and it can easily be destroyed. You know, fishes won't be able to, make tougher shells for themselves. It's really terrible. Alright, you can see a before and after picture. So that's some beautiful, it looks purple or blue, coral reefs, and we see some fishes and it looks amazing. But then when we look at the after, they're no longer purple or blue, they're bleached, meaning they're, at a loss of color. We see no fishes. It just looks dead compared to the before. And that's what ocean acidification does. What can we do? Now I have just a few ways. You can always research some more. But a few things that we can do is reduce our plastic consumption and reuse or recycle plastic when we can. So that's just, recycle, reduce, reuse. It's very important. It is very important to reduce our plastic consumption and reuse or recycle plastic, all right? Now, properly dispose of chemical cleaners, oils, and non-biodegradable items to keep them from ending up down the drain, because we see what they do to us and the environment. Maintain your car so it doesn't leak oil, antifreeze, or coolant. Remember what contributed to majority of oil pollution? Our cars, factories, us. Or not the oil spills, but us. So let's check up on your car, ensure, or check up on your mom's car, your dad's car, ensuring it's not leaking oil, If you have a yard, consider landscaping that reduces runoff and avoid applying pesticides and herbicides. And this goes for farms as well. If you have a garden, if you have a little farm going on, try to avoid applying pesticides and herbicides and consider landscaping. So these are just a few ways, but they're very important ways and very beneficial at that. This is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Cannot do it without you guys. Thank you so much. Bye.